I always hated working Christmas Eve shifts, but that year I needed the money. I was 19 and covering nights at a remote roadside lodge outside Pine Hollow. The place had 5 cabins and a main house. Most winters were slow. That night was supposed to be empty. It was not. The storm started around 6. Heavy snow, wind that sounded like a living thing clawing at the roof. I kept the wood stove burning in the lobby and tried to ignore the way the lights flickered every few minutes. At 8, the power went out completely. The backup generator kicked in with a cough and an uneven hum. I wrote down the time in the logbook. The owner wanted everything documented. Around 9, someone knocked. Sharp, repetitive. I checked the registry. No guests expected. When I opened the door, a man stood there wearing a heavy coat covered in snow. His face was pale, eyes wide, and he spoke like someone who had been outside too long. He said his name was Daniel Reeves. He said his car had skidded off the road about a kilometer up. He asked for help and a place to wait until morning. Nothing about him seemed unusual, but something in the way his eyes kept drifting past me into the dark lobby put me on edge. Still, leaving someone outside in that weather was not an option. I told him he could stay in cabin 3 and handed him the key. He did not thank me. He just closed his fingers around it and walked back into the storm. Cabin 3's porch light flickered as he reached it. He stood there for a long moment after unlocking the door. His posture was rigid, barely moving. Then he stepped inside. I went back to my seat and tried to read. Around 10:30, the generator surged, then dipped. The lights dimmed. The stove whined. The radio on the counter hissed with static. Then I heard it, a scream, muffled, sharp, coming from the direction of the cabins. I grabbed a flashlight and stepped outside. The wind nearly pushed me off the porch. All 5 cabins were lined up in a row across the snowy lot. Only cabin 3 showed light under the door. I headed toward it, boots sinking deep into the snow. The door was open, not wide, just enough for someone to slip through. The inside was dark. My flashlight beam cut across the room. The place was empty. No sign of struggle. No tracks inside. Just the sound of the wind forcing itself through the small gap in the doorframe. I swept the beam across the bed and froze. The key I had given Daniel was sitting in the center of the mattress, placed there deliberately. I turned back toward the lodge. That was when I noticed the footprints leading away from the cabin. They led toward the tree line behind the property. Not the road, not the lodge, into the woods. There were 2 sets, one made by boots. Deep, heavy. The other set was wrong. Båda footprints, longer than a human foot should be. Narrow, almost skeletal. The snow around them was melted in small pools, as if touched by heat. I followed the path for maybe 50 meters before stopping. The forest swallowed the footprints. The wind drowned every sound. I could barely see. The flashlight flickered the way the lobby lights had earlier. Something about those prints made the hair rise on the back of my neck. I turned around and walked back to the lobby without looking behind me again. Inside, the temperature had dropped. The generator hum was weak and uneven. The radio clicked on by itself, crackling static, then a voice that sounded like someone whispering through cloth. It repeated one sentence. Let it back in. The flashlight died. The lobby went black except for the faint red glow from the stove. I heard the door to the lodge creak, then soft steps on the wooden floor. Bare feet. Vet. Slow. I froze. Something moved in the dark just beyond the stove's glow. Too tall. Too thin. Shoulders too narrow. Its head cocked at an angle that no human head can hold without breaking. I backed toward the office door. The thing took a single step toward me. Then the generator died. The room returned to pitch black. I slammed the office door shut and pushed a desk against it. I stayed there until morning, listening to it move around the lobby, sometimes dragging something, sometimes tapping lightly on the door, sometimes whispering my name in Daniel's voice. When the sun came up, the footsteps stopped. When the owner arrived, the lobby looked untouched. The stove was cold. The radio was off. No footprints inside. No tracks outside. Cabin 3 looked the same way I had left it, except the key was gone from the bed. Police found no car skid marks on the road, no abandoned vehicle, no records of a Daniel Reeves matching the description I gave. I quit that day. The lodge closed 3 months later. Sometimes, late at night, I hear tapping at my apartment door. 3 taps. Slow, deliberate, always in winter, always near Christmas. I never open it.